Good evening. My name is James Williams Jr., and this is part two of why I didn't make the movie My America. Okay, when I was going to make this movie, it also was going to come on the cusp of the last good thing that Michael Moore did. And I was like, yeah, I really don't want to try to compete with Michael Moore because that's just not a fucking option. He's going to stomp a mud hole in my ass when it comes to making documentaries. And again, as I was saying beforehand, I couldn't really get white people or Asian people to really sit in front of the camera and tell me their views. I had 21 questions that really needed to be asked, and I clearly felt that they were good questions. I didn't think they were too absurd or obscure, that people would be able to honestly look me in the face and say how they felt about these events and these questions. And again, like I said, the main reason why I didn't get it is because I couldn't get enough people. I wanted 5 people of each race for this movie. I wanted 5 black people. I wanted 5 white people. I wanted 5 Asian people. And by Asian, I extend that to Native Americans as well as Indians with the dots. Now, in case you guys don't know, they're classified as Asian. So, if I could get 5, 5, and 5, that's 15 people. And then I can compare all of them. And then I had these waivers, and I don't think anybody was really willing to get on there outside of my boy Josh, who would have definitely had the black point of view, But like I said, I couldn't get people brave enough to sit down and answer 21 questions about issues in our America. And the reason why it was called My America is because there's also another movie about My America. It's made by some Chinese woman, and it's all cool because she's in this movie. She inspired me because it kind of threw me a bit because she's like, to be honest, and it totally blew my mind when she said, to be honest, sometimes we can't tell each other apart. And I was like, really? See, I'd always wondered that when I was younger, how Asians tell each other apart. And she came out the box quick with, sometimes I can't tell other Asians from their background unless I know their fucking last name. And then she said, and sometimes that's not even right because some of the last names, like a lot of Chinese last names, interchange with Korean and people from Laos. So I'm like, well, they're all in that same hemisphere. It's like, yeah, it also transfers with Mongolian because Khan can be Chinese and Mongolian, and it just really fucked me up. So if you have to see a movie about a documentary about things like that, the My America that was made by the Asian woman, I can't remember her name. Google it, you'll find it. But I was gonna make a movie called My America, and the reason why I was gonna make it was because of all the racial BS that's going on in the black community, in the white community, in the Asian community, and I wanted to see if everybody had that one thing that we all have in common. Because we all fear stinking. We all love baths, so nobody wants to stink. Nobody wants to be that stinky person in the area. We all fear being killed, mugged, or raped by somebody. We all have those fears. We all fear of being the only person in the room who's not a racist. You know, we all have that fear because everybody wants to fall in line and be like everyone else, and no one wants to stand above the crowd. No one wants to be that one guy who sticks out. And I unfortunately happen to be that one guy who sticks out because a lot of people have no idea what the fuck my race is. So, in the concept of me making this movie, the only thing I was thinking was, how can this benefit everyone? That's why you have 21 questions and you have 5 people of each ethnic background. You have to have 2 men and 2 women. And that 5th person of each group would have to be gay. Alright, so I know you guys are thinking, well, how does that work? Okay, well, look here. The thing about racism and prejudice, it kind of are a thin line. And when it comes to someone being gay or transgender, they got it all over the fucking board. Because if you're gay and you're black and you're living with it, if you're gay and you're white and you're living with it, it's fine. But if you're transgender and gay and you're white, black, or Asian, the shit you gotta put up with, the shit you gotta go through, I'm sure they have it worse than everybody. And now I'm really thinking about remaking this damn thing because there's more avenues that I can touch. Now that a lot of the 50 states are accepting gay marriages and all this other shit, and transgender bathrooms, and you know, I ain't got nothing against nobody. And after watching these things over the weekend called The Opposite Sex with Jamie and Renee, and remembering the soldier who went from being a man to a woman, and they tried to do so much bad stuff to him, her, whatever. I'm sorry, sir, ma'am. Forgive me because I don't remember your name, but everybody knows that you were one of the baddest damn soldiers, regardless of what your gender is now. You're the same person. You just switched teams. Trying to not make that sound as prejudiced or sexist or racist as possible. But he was a badass. Now she's a badass. So respect this person because they could still put a hole in a penny from 1,000 yards. So you might want to be careful. And the thing is, the transgender, gay, and lesbian, and whatever the hell else the community is, they got it worse than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? They got it so much worse than we got it. I got to worry about somebody calling me chief, nigger, or nigger chink. Where white people really, you only have one word that they really can call you, which was honky. And I don't even know who the hell came up with that crap. Oh, excuse me, 2 words. I just remembered the word cracker. Which again, I don't know who came up with that crap. Because I never really ever was racist to white people. I've been a victim of racism from white people. I've been a victim of more racism from black people than white people. And being multicultural, I've gotten it all the way around. I never really have had a racist incident from an Asian person, except for in college where the girl I thought was Japanese was actually Mexican, and she told me I looked more Chinese than she did, so I could do my report. So, like I said, I mean, I wanted to really make this movie. I really, really wanted to make this movie. But fear has kept me from doing it. And I was going to make this movie like 10 years ago. And I was like, yeah, I can make this movie. I can really make this movie. And now I kind of glad I didn't make that movie because of all the racial tension that's going on in America and the terrorist attack, and everything has that one little loop that keeps leading us back to the same BS over and over again, which is, like our fundamental freedoms that people take for granted, you know. And the one thing you have to understand, we take way too much stuff for granted. And I mean literally, we just take way too much for granted. And when you start taking things for granted, you miss out. And when you miss out on things, life tends to speed up and fly by you. And when it does that, you're like, damn, when did this happen? Because there's a lot of things that I've missed, and I've been playing catch up with for the last few years. And I'm like, okay, well, some things you just don't freaking know. And if you don't know, you don't know. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing. It's just a lack of knowledge is a lack of knowledge, and knowledge is the only true power that any human can ever possess. So the more knowledge you have, the better you are at life if you know how to use the knowledge to your advantage. If you don't know how to use the knowledge to your advantage, you're just chopping at the bit, and the only thing that you're gonna accomplish there is absolutely nothing. So you kind of gotta take everything that comes with it, or else because if you don't, you're only hurting yourself, and in doing so, you know, you have to be able to spell. No, I can't spell. You have to be able to get your shit together when it comes down to natural things. And the thing about making this movie was that if I could just find people who could be honest and willing to have their faces on my YouTube page and willing to sign these waivers so that when I put them up there, they're not going to be like, well, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to take down everything you say because everybody's watching and everybody knows. It's like the whole point of me doing that was so that everybody knows. And, if you can't deal with that, then you should probably deal with those things within you before you decide to be in a movie about racism and how America works and things like that. And, a lot of people aren't really comfortable with telling the world how they feel. And I'm going to tell you like this. I don't hate anybody. At least I don't hate anybody because of the color of their skin. But if you're an asshole or a bitch or a dick or a motherfucker, a child molester or a rapist or a fucking murderer, yeah, I hate you. No, but it's not due to the fact that your skin color has anything to do with it. It's just that if you're a fucking monster, you're a fucking monster, and you should have what's coming to you. Now, a lot of people are like, well, James, that's really not a fair assumption. Well, the world isn't fair. If it was, nobody would be poor. Nobody would be living in rice paper houses or cardboard boxes on the streets of Manhattan or Asia or anything. We would all be equal like it was supposed to be. But, the discoveries of things have made people rich, and we've all had to suffer under the thumb. And, that's the fun thing about being in America. Damn it. Cheese. Sorry. When women send you messages, it's probably a good thing to answer them. It could come back to bite you in the ass. Well, anyway, before I close out on this thing, if you guys think that I should make this movie, if you think that I can find 5 volunteers of each ethnicity in the United States of America, then let me know what you think. I wanted to make this movie for a long time. Fear has kept me from making it, and fear is probably going to keep me from making it just due to the fact that you have to be able to find people who are willing to give all of themselves and put themselves out there. It's not something that a lot of people really want to go and admit, hey, well, I got this view on racism. I got this view on gay people. I got this view on everything else. And I will tell you, my only issues are simple. My issues are simple. They can be fixed. And the questions I ask are things that we as humans can work on. We can stop racism. We can stop prejudice. Now, we can't stop lesbians from loving lesbians and gay guys from loving gay guys and transgender people from being born in the wrong body. You know, they do now have the ability to make test tube babies, but there's no guarantee that that's what that person was meant to be. And when you play God, things tend to go a little bit more wrong than right. So before I close out, I just wanted to let you guys know. I mean, if you really think that I should make this movie, and people who are really willing to volunteer, and they must be local, because I don't have any money for travel, and I don't have any money to pay them. And once it's on, it's on. It's not coming off the YouTube site or anything. And there's a good chance that it could either make you famous or make you ashamed to be you. And you have to fight through these things. There's just a lot of things that I've learned as an actor that a lot of actors just, we did it because we needed to be paid. And, there's a lot of things that you will find yourself doing as an actor that you look back morally and say, damn, what the fuck was I thinking? You were thinking you need to eat. So, if given the proper chances, there are a lot of things that actors have had to do to get their foot in the door. And I'm not talking like sexually and all. I'm talking about just like films in general. There are a lot of films out here that actors like look back and say, yeah, I probably shouldn't have made that film. But that damn film might be the one that opened up their door to work for the rest of their lives. So in closing, I was going to call this movie My America. I was going to touch on my 21 questions about racism and how people feel, and now I have so many more questions and avenues to venture. I'm still possibly thinking about making this movie. It might take another 10 years before I actually have the balls to do it. But if you guys think that it's a good idea to ask 5 different people of 5 different ethnicities or whatever, in some kind of form or another, to talk about the racism in America. Now, I can't say anything about the worldwide over, because the only place I've ever been outside of America is Canada. And I will say this, I love Canadians, whether you're French Canadian or regular Canadian, not that I can tell the difference. I have never had a racial moment anytime that I have stepped into Canada. I was never called a nigger. I was never called a First Nation half-breed or anything. So, if I have to say the one place that I've been that has never been racist to me, it would be Canada. So to all my Canadian friends in Toronto and beyond, especially to Michael Bryson, hey, thank you. Thank you for showing me there is a better place and there is a better world, and that America itself could take some notes from you guys up there in Canada, and maybe, just maybe, we might get our shit together. And just for the record, before I close, there are lots of businesses in Canada. And some of them are ran by black people. So yes, brothers and sisters out there of color, we can succeed in Canada. All we have to do is try. And it goes for my Asian brothers and sisters and my white brothers and sisters. I'm telling you, man, Canada is like the least racist place I've ever been in my entire life. And if I could move up there and have money and thrive and live there without consequences and everything, oh, I'd be a Canuck. Not a problem. But I want to try to live in Vancouver. Toronto gets really cold. No, even at nighttime in the summertime, Toronto is pretty damn cold. So I don't know if Vancouver's any warmer. Probably not, because it's like right next to Alaska. So, either way, I'm probably going to be cold. So I could only live up there like in the summertime. So I'd have to work up there in the summertime. But in the wintertime, I need to have my Virginia cold, because sometimes it's brick and sometimes it's not. So in closing, my name is James Williams Jr. Thank you guys very much for watching my video on why I didn't make the movie My America. I'm James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu Epic number 2. Be seeing you.